Welcome to your very first day here at the Nordic Mindset. Now, on behalf of me and our founder Sönlung and the rest of the team here, a warm welcome to you. And also a huge, big, fat congratulations and a pat on the back for doing this. Not everyone in the world works on their mindset. It's not something that everyone does, but you've chosen to do so, and we think you rock. Now, the first few days will cover one topic, one tool, one strategy per day. The first 3 days are our core values, our core principles here at the Nordic Mindset. The first thing we're going to tackle today is the 3 problems. We believe that each problem that I have ever had, that you have ever had, that anyone in the world will ever have, can be put into either one of 3 categories. Category number 1 are uncontrollable problems. Problems that are out there in the world that you cannot do anything about, regardless how much you think about it, how much you talk about it, how much we may even sometimes bitch about it. There's nothing we can do about it. Those are uncontrollable problems. So what could that be? Could be the weather, could be inflation, politicians we don't agree with. These are all uncontrollable problems. You could worry a lot of your life away thinking about if it's going to rain on your birthday. But in reality, there is nothing you can do about it, even if it happened. So those are uncontrollable problems that are out there in the world. Now, the second type of problem are other people's problems and how their problems may affect us somehow. The truth is, it's hard enough to change yourself. It is impossible to change other people. So problems out there in the world you can't do anything about. Problems other people have that somehow affect you, and we can't do anything about that either. The problem is that for most people, they spend a lot of time talking about, thinking about, stressing about, worrying about, and yapping about, and bitching about even the problems in the first 2 categories, which are problems that they can't solve or do anything about, even if they tried, no matter how hard they tried. Now, the last type of category, the last type of problems is the 3rd category. What is that? Well, that is problems concerning ourselves. Now, the only problems that I am able to solve are problems concerning me. I am the only one who can truly take responsibility for them and solve them. Now, if I want to lose weight and get a personal trainer, I have to do the work. I can look for help, but it's still me who has to do the push-ups, right? Now, sadly, we can't pay anyone to do our fitness for us, do our push-ups and our sit-ups for us. And that is the way you have to look at it. There are problems in the 1st and 2nd category that you cannot do anything about. But do you spend time on those 2 types of problems? And if you do, isn't that costing you time and energy and resources that you could have spent on the 3rd category, problems concerning you? Now, when we do our public speaking events, we often ask the audience, after having explained this to them, how much time do you think you spend worrying about problems in the 1st and 2nd category? Thinking about it, stressing about it, talking about it, yapping about it at work with your friends, or bitching about it. And what's really depressing is that people tell us that maybe half the time, or up to 80% of the time they spend on problems are spent on problems in the 1st and 2nd category. Problems that are out there, uncontrollable problems out there in the world, or problems that other people have that we can't do anything about either. Now, all of that time, those resources could have been spent tackling problems in the 3rd category, trying to find solutions for problems in the 3rd category. And that's what we need to learn. Now, imagine renting a cool car. I remember I was in my 20s, which obviously isn't that long ago. I went to Las Vegas on a trip with my buddy Tommy, and we rented, it was a yellow Ferrari 355 convertible. It was so fast. It was so much fun. Now, imagine you driving a cool car like that, but the only speed you know how to access is the 1st speed. All the other speeds are inaccessible to you. So you're missing out. That's kind of the same thing as wasting so much mental energy and resources and thoughts and time and hours a day thinking about problems, worrying about problems, stressing about problems that either way you cannot solve. We could have spent that time tackling problems that regard us, that we ourselves can in fact solve. So the first lesson, the first day, the first strategy here at the Nordic Mindset that we want to give you is exactly that. Think about what type of problems you have in your life. There is an assignment that goes along with this video. You can find it in the description, probably below or above. Do the assignment. Start thinking about how much time are you spending every day on uncontrollable problems out there in the world. You can't solve them anyway. How much time is that taken away from you spending time on problems that you could have solved, that would have given you a much better, much easier life? How much time are you wasting on problems that other people have that you can't do anything about either? Could you have solved your own problems in that time? Could you have spent that time more effectively, intelligently? I think we all could, right? Now I'm going to end the day with a little story. Let's call him William. An old guy called William, he dies. He's 90 years old. He goes to heaven and he stands there at the pearly gates and St. Peter's there to greet him. And St. Peter says, "Hello, William. Welcome to heaven. Did you have a nice life?" And this old man who died says, "I don't know about that. I lived in Denmark. It was either cold or it rained. And my wife, she was a terrible cook. And don't even get me started about my boss. He was an absolute jerk and the pay wasn't any good." And St. Peter says, "Wait a second. You complain a lot. Have you spent a lot of your life complaining, let's say, on a daily basis?" And William says, "Yeah, I guess I have. Maybe a couple of hours or more." And St. Peter says, "Well, if you spend 3 to 4 hours a day complaining, in a week that adds up to about 1 day per week. That's 52 days a year, right? Complaining. And you've lived 80 years, William. That means that 10 or 11 years of your life have just been consumed with this talking about and stressing about and worrying about and bitching about things that you were mad at, that bothered you, that somehow stressed you. Let me ask you, did your wife become a better cook because you complained a lot?" And William says, "No, I don't think so." "And did your boss become a nicer person because you complained about him to your wife all the time?" "No, not really." "How about the weather in Denmark? Did that become any better because you worried about it and complained about it?" "No," he says. "William, haven't you then just wasted 10 or 11 years of your life just talking about, worrying about, stressing about, bitching about even things that you couldn't change anyway?" And William says, "I guess you're right." "Oh, that's amazing. I have 11 years left. You can just send me back down." Peter says, "No, I can't, William. There are no do-overs. As far as I know, perhaps you have different information than I do, but I think we only have one life. So it's important that we look at what type of problems am I having? Am I in fact spending a lot of time on problems out there in the world that I'm stressing about? Other people's problems that I can't change anyway? And is that taking away time and mental energy that I could have spent on my own problems? Gotten a much easier life where I'd be happier and more joyful." So look at your assignment for this week and try to assess how much time are you spending, how much resources are you spending on the first 2 categories. And if I may encourage you to do some extra work, take out a clean sheet of paper. Empty your head. Write down all the problems you have, or all the perceived problems you think you have, everything you worry about, complain about, everything that annoys you, bugs you. Write everything down. Now, once you've sort of emptied your head, take your pen and cross out all the problems that you have that are uncontrollable. Maybe you're spending time annoyed about the weather, or mental energy worrying about that it might rain on your daughter's birthday. Just empty your head and then cross out all those things that are uncontrollable. The first category. And then also cross out all the problems that concern other people that you can't do much about either. That's their responsibility. Now, I'm gonna bet you're gonna be left with a pretty short list of problems that you yourself could be attacking. That you yourself, of course, should be attacking. And if you did, your life would be so much more peaceful. You would have so much more joy. You'd be happier. Now, those were the thoughts of the day for the very first day at the Nordic Mindset. I cannot wait to be back tomorrow. And once again, congratulations on doing this course. You are going to feel a lot happier. I can guarantee it because it happened for me. I'll see you tomorrow.